I think that my mic is broken. I think that this is really the microphone. Cause yeah, this seems to be happening. This has happened the last 2 days with this microphone. Mm. So I'm gonna wait. Um, I'm gonna wait and see if uh, people start into the conversation because I'm curious. Did you guys get to hear it? But I actually ended up deleting it. Okay, tell me if you guys can hear me now, because if not, I'm gonna have to restart my phone. I don't think I should have to, but tell me if you guys can hear me now. Mm. Is there any sound? This is really. I wonder. Okay, I can hear you. Okay. Hey, Grandpa. Okay. So, all right. Did you guys hear me talk at all, or is this all been? Is this all? Did it just cut off right there towards the end? So, the guard, your privacy, like community line guidelines. Okay. Okay. I'm just curious, like, if you got to hear how much of it you got to hear. Um, okay. Hey, what's up, Leslie? Nice to see you. Good to see all my members coming in here. All right. So today is my 45th birthday. So anybody wants to wish me a happy birthday, you're more than welcome to. If you go down in the description and you want to send me like a birthday gift, like buy me a cup of coffee or whatever, a couple bucks, you can do it through my Cash App or through my PayPal. Um, I'm using some of my birthday money and other fundraising that I did. Thanks, Jeremy. I'm using some of my birthday money and some of the things that came in, like my Patreon and stuff like that. I consider that the $60 at this point in time. But if anybody would like to help, kind of help offset that even a little bit more, it'd be much appreciated. Because apparently they tried to raise the price by like $20, and I talked to the guy like, because we're talking about my travels hiking, and when you're a hiker or when you're a traveler like I am, and he's Indian, so he has a deeper understanding of my lifestyle with and a little bit more reverence for it than like the average American, because the average American doesn't understand the nomadic lifestyle because it's not really, it's been part of our culture, but it's never been a dominant part of our culture. Because like, let's say I think it was in the state of Montana or North Dakota, when you turned age of majority, which means you became an adult, you would get gifted a horse, a $20 gold coin, and a rifle, and then that was your inheritance so that you could go out and do the rest of your life. And that's all you needed back then to be able to survive, because you could go through. Hey, what's up, Steven? You could go through. All different places. If you need to resupply in towns, there were plenty of towns around, plus nature offered. There was plenty of space to roam and trails and stuff like that. And so, some people would go sort their oats for periods of time, or just go roam until they found their place, or whatever it may be. But in Europe and Asia and the Middle East and Persia, the nomadic lifestyle, especially in like the Middle East and Persia, has been um, uh, uh, in the Middle East and Persia, is where it's more dominant. I think it's I can't remember the name of there's a famous nomadic tribe that still roams the desert. What are the not the Jesuits? I don't remember their names, but you guys probably do. But that's and we were talking about it. And he was like, he was saying it's like it's amazing that you've done all your traveling and stuff like that. And he's like, you're a very unique individual. And I said, the thing about modernity, about the modern society, is that we think that just because we've got all this, that our roles within nature stop being portrayed. What does that mean? There are certain roles, certain talents that we are gifted biologically, genetically at birth that kind of gives us our role within nature. We have our thinkers, we have our doers, we have our caretakers, we have our builders, we have we have we have all different things. What's up, Gia? No, I'm not Amish. But it's all of this stuff. We all have a different role, and the role of a nomad, if we lost all communication, all technology, the role of a nomad is to spread information across the globe. So if you're going like from, let's say, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the north to the south, you're coming across and you're taking the knowledge that you've gained of like how other societies are living, what things are the other communities are doing that are really awesome. And this is how ideas and information was disseminated. Without the nomads being able to share information across the globe, it would have taken much longer for us to evolve to the state that we're in. So nomads have always had a traditional role within nature, because it allows all of nature to kind of like all boats rise with the tide. Okay, and that is technically been, whether I realized it or not, because I've adapted to the nomadic lifestyle. That has kind of become my role, because the funny thing is everywhere I go, everybody always tries to tell me how their weather is really bad and it's really extreme and da 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 da. I'm like, no, it's not. You just have a different thing, but every place says that. Your every place's weather will change on a dime. You can't just, it's not just in that one area. It happens all across the world, all across the country. And so many people think that their weather systems are unique, and in some ways they are. So like here in the West, you have high winds. With high winds, what that means is that when it gets cold, it gets really cold. Versus when it comes to, you go down to Florida, the humidity is one thing, but then you got to deal with hurricanes and being inundated with like with huge rainstorms. It's a tropical area, so you're gonna get a lot of rain. Everybody thinks that their weather is worse, and it makes them the hardest place to live in some places. So and that's the thing that a nomad can do, is they're able to dispel myths and things like that. Okay. So let me go back through the comments, because I know a lot of you made some comments, and let me see what you guys said. Let's see here. Okay, is it better to wear sandals all the time when living rough? Oh, hell no. You should. There's even other hikers, and I'll agree with them, that have said this. You don't want something that's going to expose your feet. If you have the opportunity to, where you can go, like during the summer, I usually get like trail runners that have the mesh on top, so it allows my feet to air out, and I get thinner socks. And during the winter, I'm gonna want to wear boots or something like that that's gonna keep me insulated with thicker socks. Okay, so no, your footwear, and if you notice that all throughout the different walks in which I've done, my foot gear has changed. I've had regular shoes, I've had trail runners, I've had boots, and I've continued depending upon the terrain, because I mean the terrain that you're going to deal with is going to be at least a good 100 or 200 miles. That's going to be very similar. If you're dealing like when you're walking rocky areas, which means you need hard soles, versus doing a road walk, which is which require, you can get away with soft soles. These are different things that you got to consider. So your footwear is always going to adapt to your situation, and there's no one piece of gear that you can use, because even though boots are the most versatile and most adaptive, they don't really give you an opportunity. There are certain drawbacks for it. Like when it starts getting really, really hot, your feet are going to overheat, because the thing about the boots is they absorb more of the ground heat than, let's say, the soft soles or tennis shoes. And so like when it's cold out there, it absorbs all that cold, but when it's hot, it really absorbs all that hot. And so those are some of the drawbacks in boots. So you got to kind of change some things up. So no, I wasn't Amish up. What's up, Gia? What time is it for me? It's 9 o'clock here. When we do, okay. Yes, don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, Tuck, I've seen in the whole world, your guess is the right economic recession has started in the world. Soon this world will collapse. Well, GM, I'm going off of a prediction from the guy by the name of Billy Meyer. A guy by the Billy Meyer. The cat was let out of the bag in like 2006 when his spokesman, Michael Horn, said this was the beginning of the economic turmoil that Meyer had predicted. I always questioned it, because it's like, okay, I need to see some evidence. You can say something, you can predict it, It's great. I'll pay heed to it, but until I see it come true, I'm gonna be a little bit skeptical. And that's just the way I am. I'm in a perfect state for it. The show me state. So his the thing was is that his prediction was that when we would reach a certain level of production, and then it would collapse, and then it would start to reach up to that level, but right as it reached up to that level again, it would just keep collapsing. So we would never see any real growth, and we would have continuous economic collapses. Now that we're hearing about, and the big thing that's coming about is the population implosion among Western countries, because we've made having children so uneconomical that we've indirectly influenced the decline of our society. Now, could this be an overall extinction? No, I don't think that that's going to be an overall extinction. I think this is nature balancing out, and that as much as we dislike a lot of the climate change policies, long term, if just by reducing the birth rate, it will have a positive impact on the overall planet, just because I guess the average human being puts about 40 tons of carbon out. So you've got 8 billion people times 40 tons of carbon. That's a lot of carbon. And so if they're trying to reduce the carbon footprint, cow farts and jet fuel isn't really going to do it, because the human being is probably the biggest perpetuator of the carbon, of leaving the carbon footprint than anything, based upon what I've read. Now, like I said, I'm always skeptical, but I'm always willing to hear and at least take it and see if there's any supporting evidence behind it. But again, this is some of the stuff I read. Thanks. My feet were in bits when I was homeless. Yeah, well, if you were wearing sandals, I bet that's why. So that's why I watch your okay. Okay, that's why I watch your videos to learn survival in the emergency time, and I know it's coming. Yeah, but here's the thing that's gonna change. Okay, I've always been solo. I'm gonna have to get off of that and actually build me a road crew. I wanted to build a road crew before, but I didn't have the momentum nor the notoriety that I have now, since, because of all the work that I put in over the last couple of years. Now that I've got that time, and I'm some other things that I've got in the works, I'm hoping that it draws and attracts the right people towards me. So I don't think I want to travel in a group of more than 4 or 5 people, but it's going to be 4 or 5 people that we are the strongest crew possible, which means, I'm looking for people that are not in crisis mode. That means, if you got to be able to stand about your wits and do this. So I've been talking with ChatGPT, because it's like, okay, this is like my umpteenth time becoming homeless. Like, hold on, before I get into this, I'm gonna read a couple more questions. Hi from Nashville, Tennessee. Let's see. Yes, I've been through Nashville high time, high time. Nashville's cool. I liked it a little bit better than Chattanooga. Boots in for the woods, runners for the city's pathways. Wow. Well, there had to be something else going on there. Hi, I'm in Minnesota. My uncle lives in Kansas City. Fun there. How do you feel about the fraud in Minnesota or Islam? Peace, be safe. Par for the course. It's been happening, and now that the blinders are being ripped off because we're about to go into austerity, we find out for the last decades, not only have the elites, but foreigners have been robbing our country blind and leaving us with the bill. That's not right. So, got to be an optimist. Okay, I don't ever donate to this dude again. I donated him a good amount of money a while back when I was on my feet, and I was homeless, and well, I ran into some trouble. I was hungry, and he turned me down. Anthony, I know you're talking. Okay, if you're gonna, no, that's a false claim. I am not gonna let somebody slander me. Let's just put it for there. Okay, I'm not gonna be slandered. You want to slander me? Yeah. Okay. Love to be in your group. Well, here's the thing. And this is gonna be across the board because I'm good at being able to pick up on people and their patterns, and what their strengths and weaknesses are and stuff like that. Um, I've picked up on that. I know how to pick up on that, but I need to be able to have at least a few days to a few weeks to watch your manners, watch your habits, to see if you have any of the warning signs that I know to watch out for. Because I don't want to deal with somebody that has that. Okay, you got to be able to, because we're not just going to travel and like, ooh, let's stand here and panhandle. That's not my group. My group is going to go into towns and we're going to find work if we need work, or we're going to have our own way of making our own money. And it's going to be a way where, I don't know, I will have to define it, because I've had some other people approach me about starting a band, and I'm like, no, because this seems unfair. Because usually you have that one person. It's like, yeah, we'll split our money. If I do good, we'll share. If you do good, we'll share. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but I know you're a drunk and you're gonna get drunk, and as soon as you see that I'm bringing enough money, you're just gonna sit there and drink it all down, and I'm screwed. So yeah, no, that's one thing that I'm very careful about is I want to be part of a group that is actually like that is independent and self-sufficient. We'll define that over time. Okay. What you up to later on? I don't know. I'm still trying to get my, like, emotionally, psychologically. You guys probably don't get to see it because I've gotten so used to being able to handle large amounts of chaos. I'm still reeling back from all of that, but as soon as it's going to take me probably about 2 or 3 more days until I finally chemically balance out in my brain so that I can really like get into my mode. But I got to get out of Kansas City and out into nature. And it's going to be probably about 4 or 5 more days, maybe a week, before I actually start walking some nature trails along the way. Because there's like, from what I was looking at, is there's like somewhere like little stretches of like 10 and 15 miles of nature trail along the way. And so that's what I'm going to really look into. So, um, uh, Dr. Pepper. You know what? I actually had Dr. Pepper yesterday. I call it Dr. Prune because it's basically carbonated prune juice. So, can you give a quick recap of the past few months? Um, okay. Yeah. So, the past few months, I'm not going to talk about my relation. I gotta stay out of that because that's what's messing with me. I have nothing that I don't want to be with the girl. Okay. I was the point is we made an agreement way back, and on September 25th was the exact day that we made that agreement, was that I would have until March. If we decided we wanted to go our separate ways, my next jumping point was March, and we were going to both bide our time for that. And so I've been slowly waiting. Over the time we agreed to stop dating, but every time she kept pulling me back in and being like, oh, I want something. It was basically a yo-yo. But the thing is I kept moving towards this goal. It's why I started buying the gear that I did, because I wanted to be able to be in any type of weather and be able to survive. What happened the last couple of days was vindictive. It was lawfare. It was a lot of different things. It's not the first time I've been through lawfare. I mean, it's actually becoming more and more common, and it's something that you can go talk to just about any guy and find out how the system's really. It doesn't matter the color of your skin either. It just matters that you got a stem instead of an innie. So I mean that's the thing. So that's a basic recap. I've been working in Maryville for the last like 7 months, 8 months, and my job loved me. I love my job. I really wish I could have stayed. But because of the way she did everything, she forced me to have to leave because I had no alternative options. Because I was in the middle of actually looking for a place to rent. I had put in an application, and the day that her and I had this whole thing, I had gotten turned down because the paperwork didn't get to him in time, because I needed a special note from a doctor to be able to get into that place to get a reduced rent. And it didn't happen because they drug their feet. And the day that her and I went our separate ways was also the day that I got notified that it wasn't going to work. And I think that she saw that as a point of vulnerability and used it to attack me because she already knew I was going to be leaving. Because I even told my boss way back in January that I was giving it until the end of February, and if at the end of February I couldn't find a place, I was going to be hitting the road. So I was supposed to have another few days so I could get another check, and also it would have given me an opportunity to get through this cold spell because February is still erratic. March, the weather becomes more stable and starts definitely warming up. We've got a cold spell coming over here in the next on Monday. It's supposed to be down to 17 degrees, and because I was forced to get all of my stuff out in 20 minutes, I left behind Sam's heartworm medication, and I also left behind her jacket, which in 17-degree weather, I mean, yeah, we've been down to 0 degrees before, and yeah, she's been down to 20 degrees before, but with the wind chill here in the Midwest, it makes it a little bit more complicated than the way it was. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm like I said, this is why I need a couple of weeks to walk, just so I can walk off the anger, because this was just downright malicious. But yeah, that's what put me where I'm at. I should have left in October when I wanted to. Instead, I chose to give it to give it one more shot, and that was my fatal mistake. Okay, so I want to get into, so cheers. Hey, what's up, Bear? Nice to see you, buddy. Okay, that's great. You look good, bro. Well, yeah, I've been housed up for about 7-8 months. So yeah, I've gained 50 pounds. In about another 2 months, you're going to see me look like skin and bones, and I'm going to be struggling to eat. So it's going to be because it's going to be a really rough patch, just to get started. Because if you have a job and then you go homeless, you have to wait 30 days after you leave your job to be able to apply for food stamps, and then it takes another 30 days to get your stamps in the mail, because that's the way they do it. So I pre-planned for this somewhat. Is I actually gave myself 30 days worth of hiker food. So I bought like 4 cans of Mountain House, a can of Nido, and I have like a package, like 20 or 30 of the breakfast mixes, and that's going to last me for the next 30 days, as long as I use what I got. That's the challenge that I have to face. Plus, not being able to have Sam's jacket, that really concerns me, because that's not fair to her. Okay, so one of the best survival tools is the TPS M6 Scout. What is that? Not sure. How was Arizona? Did you like it? Come in a minute so I can help you for your dog piece. No, Timothy. That's what one of my Oz was one of my subscribers. I'm never gonna do anything like that again. It was my worst fear that I would be pulled into a situation with a subscriber. It would become toxic. I would become stuck, and I would struggle to get out. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't want to put myself in that position again. So yeah, maybe a night or two, a couch surf, a place on when it's really cold, sure. But past that, no, I'm good. And Arizona was wonderful. Bear is my neighbor in Arizona, so the Open Air Properties, who sponsors this channel. She actually she does land in Arizona, Colorado, and Arkansas, and it's all owner finance. So if you're looking for a blank slate of land that's off grid, it's out in the middle of nowhere, that you can build your off grid property on. You can buy 1 acre, you can buy multiple acres. She does have the ability to bundle if you ask her, and she will, if you really do talk with her, she will work with you and negotiate, as long as the terms are always fair. Okay, you just got to be fair with her, and she'll be fair with you. She's the most honest and fair person I've done business with. And if you mention Friar Tuck when you talk with her, you'll get $50 off of your deposit. So okay, amber leaf tobacco and hash in park earlier. Huh? Nice. So you had your. I don't do hash. You don't want to go back to your property? Yes, I do. talked with Stephanie. She knows my situation. She was kind of like, when the chaos first started, she kind of understood what was going on, because I had to communicate with her why I had to start backing off some of the videos. It was so chaotic there that I actually partially shut down my channel, to the point where